Go again. It's another one of them Dawson's Crack episodes. This is episode 2 of Dawson's Crack, episode 3 of season 1 of Dawson's Creek. What is Dawson's Crack? Of course, we all know it by now. It's the Dawson's Creek Rewatch First Time Watch podcast, where we go through each episode one by one, watching it potentially in a car, sometimes in the house, and we try to just keep it up until we can't, right? First episode was crazy. We got Pacey and Tamara together. We got Jen moving into town. We got Joey brooding over everybody and being pissed off. Second episode, we of course have the dance where Scott Foley attempts to hook up with Jen. We have the kiss between Pacey and Jen, which means nothing. We have the Tamara-Pacey relationship continuing to go to an ugly place. We also have the potential of Bob having an affair with Dawson's mom and a variety of other shenanigans. Now, this goes episode 3, and episode 3 is going to be a meaty episode. This is a nice, meaty episode. Okay, so episode 3, we're going to do the synopsis as always. Usually we get it from Television of Yore because they have the funniest ones. This one's a little, it is what it is. Joey fibs to the rich boarding school boy that she's smitten with. Dawson and Jen share their first kiss. Pacey nails Tamara while cameras are rolling. So we're going to know the drama right now. Ready? Boom. Joey's had enough of all this kiss talk, and she says, just get it over with already. It's never going to be a cinematic moment. All this stuff is, built specifically for romance. Real life isn't like that. Just get it done and move on. This one, I know we didn't concentrate too much on the dialogue last week because we really hammered it home on episode 1 of just how crazy the dialogue is in all these episodes. But this particular line is kind of fun. So when they're talking and he points out the screen, Dawson says to Joey, me and Jen and I, this is the moment. And Joey says, oh, black and white? How retro? Talking about the TV. And then he says, no, I'm talking about romantic hypothesis. My first kiss with Jen is going to be just like that. She says, wow, wait a minute. We're back to that? You mean you haven't even kissed her yet? He says it's not about the kiss, it's about the journey, creating a sustainable magic. Does Jen fall for this warped movie logic? He said it's not warped, it's romance. That's when Joey cuts in and says, take the elevator to the next floor and get off, it's time. Okay, so we cut to Cape Side High School film class again, and this time they're discussing plot lines for the Helmets of Glory film, and they're all throwing out all these ideas that are terrible, and that's when Dawson cuts in and basically says that you have to restructure the film around him being the underdog, brings up Karate Kid, brings up Rocky, and Nelly, the one whose dad owns the video store, tells him to eat dicks and shut up. That's when we cut back to Tamara and Pacey again. They're talking about his English quiz, and he's completely failed it. He's really doing poorly in school. Someone should really be watching into this. I understand that he and Tamara have this weird relationship, but she should really be calling his parents and being like, dude, what the fuck is going on with your kid? He stinks at everything. Apparently, he's failing everything. He says something about bonehead energy. Joey, who's working with her pregnant sister and boyfriend at their restaurant, the Ice House. So I was like, I thought these people were supposed to be like white trash or something, or, interracial couple that people don't agree with or whatever, but they own a restaurant? Like, that to me is a fairly successful group of people. Just saying. An interracial couple shenan aside, which I have no problem with, and nobody else should have a problem with, it seems to me that they're doing fairly well if they own a restaurant, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Obviously, Joey is waiting tables. Dawson's on some shit about how he's going to establish the backdrop for his final scene of his stupid monster movie. And Pacey says he's also got a date, obviously, with Tamara. Doesn't mention Tamara, but that's what it is. And then he says he wants some orgasm-inducing oysters. Gross. Just gross. We see a nice-looking dude enter the restaurant, and Joey obviously shows him a little attention, and Pacey decides to be a dick and scream out at him. We then cut to Helmets of Glory being filmed with Jen as one of the extras dressed in a cheerleading uniform. So Tamara and Pacey are back in, and the quote-unquote date is just him being tutored. Like, you're not going to bring oysters to that. Gross. So she basically says he's got to get his shit together and that she would never have dated a flunky, and that's the whole scene there. We go back to Joey at the Ice House, finishing up her shift. She goes to throw something in the dumpster, and she hears this quote-unquote beautiful music. She goes around to see what it is, and it's the rich kid that was in the restaurant earlier playing a violin. He offers to take Joey sailing on his boat. Back to Nellie talking shit to Dawson while he makes fun of Helmets of Glory, and she just rips him a new one about how he's shitting on her film and she hates him. The tutoring session with Tamara and Pacey. Pacey says some gross stuff to her. Kind of fun scene with Pacey and Tamara because basically he tries to make a move on her and she calls his bluff, tells him to get up on the desk and take his clothes off. She tells him go find somebody his own age. Puts him down and says their flirtation is completely wrong. Pacey tries to make this argument that says like, it's so wrong, it's right, and she basically says no, absolutely not. That's when Joey goes on the sailing date with the rich kid and basically makes up a whole new persona so that she doesn't seem like the poor put upon individual she actually is. Back to Helmets of Glory, which is going terribly poorly because their cameraman is trying to jog backwards to film something and he keeps tripping and falling. Nellie's getting progressively more pissed and calling him a bunch of names, and that's when Dawson keeps trying to interject so that he's like, yo, I know how to run a camera, why don't you just give me the camera? And of course Nellie hates Dawson probably because of all the shit talking he does, I would guess, while working at the video store. But inevitably, she gives him the camera. It turns out he knows what he's doing. Dawson successfully basically saves the Helmets of Glory film by actually knowing how to operate a camera. Cut back to Joey working at the ice house. That's when the rich guy comes in, and obviously Joey's working and has to pretend that she's not. Tries to put on her persona in front of everybody. Dawson's a complete dick about it and does not understand what is going on at all. Almost blows up her spot. That's when Jen steps in to cut him off, and basically, she realizes immediately what's happening and just tries to shut it down. That's when we see Pacey sneaking around the corner while Tamara is talking to Mr. Gold, and they're having a little, what appears to be, at first glance, flirty little exchange. We go to Dawson. He takes Jen to the Greek-inspired film thing that he wants to do, which is just some dude's property. And I'm like, this doesn't fit the Swamp Thing theme at all. What are we doing? He has to do something creepy here. He moves in to kiss Jen in the Greek-inspired estate, right? And never shuts the camera off, which I'm like, bro, don't be a weirdo, dude. Why you gotta be a weirdo? And Jen immediately sees it, realizes the lens is on, and is like, dude, what are you doing? That's obviously creepy. I have a last little exchange between Joey and the rich kid, Anderson, who's playing the violin on his boat, and she basically says, like, this is never gonna work. It can't work. Then we go back to Jen and Dawson in the estate, and she's bitching him out for obviously trying to film an intimate moment sneakily, which is creepy. We find out the secret is that Dawson was actually trying to put this whole Greek estate thing together so that he can get a romantic first kiss, and he's worried that he wasn't going to be able to seal the deal. Boy, Jen really should just be like, dude, get away from me, Dawson. The shenanigans you put me through already. We have the first episode of him just being way overzealous. Second episode involves him basically busting into her date at the dance and trying to kiss her there and being a creep. Now we have him trying to secretly film her in a weird Greek estate for some reason. Cut ties with Dawson, dude. Be done with it. Then we cut back to Joey. Joey's in the back of her sister's boyfriend's pickup truck, catching a ride home, staring at the phone number of the rich guy that she's probably never going to see again. Dawson then hears somebody approaching. We see Pacey and Tamara accidentally falling into the shot of where Dawson is filming. So now there is a video of Tamara's back kissing Pacey. Finale is a nude Pacey spooning Tamara, and we call it a day. And it's like, okay, so many things wrong there. So many things wrong, obviously. So that's the finale of the episode. The last scene, it fades to black on Pacey being buck naked with Tamara. We got a lot of meat and potatoes in this episode. Of course, we have Joey hanging out with a rich dude that she's never going to see again, which is kind of like a red herring because it's like, this dude's never going to, this dude's never going to show back up. But it's just giving Joey a little opportunity to live outside of her comfort zone. And this is the only time you've actually seen Joey even remotely try to flirt with anybody or make a move on anybody or whatever. And it's just some random rich dude that's never going to show up again. You have Jen and Dawson's relationship escalating to first kiss territory, but Dawson being a weirdo and filming it because it's a creep show. Then you have Tamara and Pacey hooking up finally, but accidentally being filmed. So now you have that problem. So the felonies are just racking up. And then last but not least, you have Helmets of Glory coming to its full beauty because Dawson actually knows how to operate a camera. And we get a little Nelly fun. We get a little Scott Foley fun. So there's a lot to eat here. not a bad episode, comparatively speaking. First episode, not bad. Second episode, a little in the weak sauce. Third episode, we're picking up a little pace. We'll see what 4 episodes brings.